What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to this Forex forecast, this multi-time frame forecast. Before we get into everything, we're going to be covering AUD, New Zealand dollar, and I need you guys to do one thing. It's really critical. It's just like this idea down below. It not only supports us, but gives others the opportunity to see this video as well. That being said, let's get straight into it. So we had talked about this pair last week, talking about it hitting an extension level, which would be a potential area for reversal. And honestly, we're getting really close to that significant zone right now. So we still have a lot of bullish momentum, but as we start breaking down to the lower time frames, we start seeing that it's slowly losing steam. So this isn't actually a representation of what's going on, but basically we got our basic trend line on the 4 hour, and then you can just see it gradually just slowly steaming out, and it's getting flatter and flatter, and eventually, idealistically, you'd start seeing something like this. Now what we could be seeing right here is, and once again this is all speculative, is just some type of head and shoulder pattern. Essentially, idealistically, we'd be seeing something like this, and this would give us another solid piece of confluence as far as a structural pattern goes, to determine whether or not it would actually be ready for a sell. However, because there is still a lot of bullish momentum, we might be seeing a continued push, especially if this level right here is continuing as support, assuming we break past it. But right now we have an indecisive candle following with a nice followed by a nice wick right here, which was rejecting this area of structural resistance. And the reason why that area of structural resistance was kind of significant is, if we go back to the daily real quick, we could see here. Wrong one. And then we go back to the 4 hour. We can see here that it aligns almost perfectly. That previous high, that previous relative high, aligns almost perfectly with where this candle and the body actually closed. So we closed below that, rejecting this area up here. And right now, we're in an area right now where we want to be waiting for structural changes to occur on the downside before we start validating this pair for potential trade in this, either this week or potentially a setup that's going to be valid next week. So we have this area of structural resistance right here. And idealistically, this is what we're going to be wanting to see happen here. So we're going to want to see a push downward, a retest of this area of previous structure support turn resistance, and then we can start validating it from there. So right now we still have a lot of bullish momentum, as you saw from both this perspective, but also we can see a little channel coming in here right here. But you see, when we have these type of channels where uh, the wedge starts getting smaller and smaller towards the end, and it starts bottoming out and kind of getting flatter, that's just another good key indicator that there's just losing momentum in the market, which is a good indicator that there is a reversal on the way. So what we could be seeing right here is just another gradual climb towards here, which was the initial setup idea. And then we can start seeing breaks on the lower, breaks down to lower lows on the smaller time frames, which would allow us to actually go in and start validating this setup as a potential setup for execution. However, right now, like I mentioned, we are trading below this previous relative daily structural resistance. And not only did the body close below it, but we are currently trading below it with a very indecisive doji candle, which is a good indicator that there is indecision in the market. Now, depending on where this candle closes, it could be a potential um, confirmation candle. However, I would like to wait and see some structural changes on the downside before we actually confirm whether or not it is ready and primed for a short. So that being said, this is just a quick update on AUDNZ. Once again, we are testing relative structural resistance. However, the overall idea is still the same nonetheless. We are shooting for this area of structural support, you could see that it was initiated and validated once, and then eventually we could see it as a valid target once more, assuming it tested as support. So we're still waiting to determine whether or not this area is going to be resistance or if we're going to shoot up to here, which once again is an extension fib structure plus a trend line on the monthly time frame. So this is AUDNZ. We are getting very close to a potential setup. We just need to monitor price where it is at currently. And then also if it makes higher high towards this area of structural support, or excuse me, resistance, monitor price there because it could be a potential area of interest for us to go in on a reversal. So that is AUDNZ. I'll see you guys in the next pair. Bye.